So many empaths struggle with this question, why people project on me, why people dump all their stuff on me that isn't even mine. I was just having a conversation with someone yesterday who shared the same thing, and she said, like, no matter how much I put out there, no matter how good I am to people, after the initial love and whatever kind of friendship, then things take a bad turn and people exploit me, or they turn their anger back at me and accuse me of things I've never done. So that was also my experience in the past, and maybe it was yours. And if that's something that resonates, you might have a good help from watching this video, because I will also explain not only where it comes from, but also how you can start stopping this, okay? How you can be in charge, how you can navigate knowing this, how people tend to behave towards you. So I have a great analogy to share. Maybe if you watched my channel, you would know that I see energy in patterns and in diagrams. It's kind of weird, but I embrace it because it gives me so much information, and this is how I've been able to heal from so many things. So the analogy goes that when you're an empath, when you're a deep feeler, when you're someone that absorbs stuff from others, you become available to them. You meet a person and you create space, right? You give them space for them to share things. Like, you have this natural presence that absorbs. So it's like your boundary, your personal boundary of your energy is very leaking. So you open up this space for other people. They will tell you things about them. They will tell you what they're suffering from. They will tell you their deep secrets, probably. They might tell you things that they will be baffled that maybe they didn't share it with others, and they might just really get obsessed with you, even in the initial interaction, because it's like, wow, oh my God, this person shows me such deep unconditional presence, which for most people, whether you know it or not, it equates to unconditional love that they probably never experienced in their life, unless with another empath. And for people, it's really addictive to experience, and they will open up with all their secrets and all the things. But what happens in terms of energy, I just mentioned that it's like you have a leaky boundary. You've got a leaky boundary to yourself that allows people's energy to get absorbed into you, because you open yourself up and you have no limits, okay? So the analogy I have for you is like, imagine someone is a house, okay? And you are a house as well, but you have no walls. And you stand there and people come and attach themselves to you. So because you have no walls, you become an extension in terms of what I just described. You become a space for them. You become a sort of extension for everything that's going on inside of them. And there are many inner conflicts inside people. There are many inner tensions that result from the traumas, from stress, from however they cannot cope with their life. So that tension that is pushing on their inner walls is kind of overflowing onto you. So whatever pains, whatever is on their mind, whatever tensions, whatever anger they have, they're gonna be flooding this over into your space because you've become so open to them. You literally have no walls. These are the boundaries that we so frequently talk about. If you're an empath, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So these are what protects us. When you go around and you're just open, you become like transparent, as I call it, in terms of energy. You let things come inside of you with no limits. You just let all the energies of other people bombard you, because you have not developed a way of, I don't want to say closing your space, but protecting your space in the way that you can take charge and control it. And an empath with healthy boundaries and awareness is the most powerful and formidable person on the planet. I talk the same about like highly sensitive people. It's basically you become invincible when you are an empath with healthy boundaries. You're just like such a badass. Like you can win in all areas of your life. But if you have not developed these boundaries, which means you have this problem of being open with no limits, then people project their things onto you. And it also behaves like a mirror, because they've dumped these things onto you. You have never shown a real individuality to them. You've never really shown some sort of side of you that would be heavily opinionated, right? This is so typical for empaths, that they are so neutral. They're like tolerant for all the views. They're like, okay, I can see all sides of story. I can see all perspectives. I'm not going to judge people. This is what makes you you, right? But not having strong opinions, as most people have, because we're not attached to having strong opinions. We don't want to impose our opinions on others, even if we have strong opinions on something, right? But because we don't want to be opinionated, which seems like a bad thing. It feels like it's forceful. People see us as, well, let's put it, doormats, you know, and maybe they don't even think about it, but maybe with regards to some empaths, they might treat them like that, because you have no boundaries, you agree to many things, you see everyone's perspectives, you nod, you appreciate, you do all these things that encourage them and enable them in getting more and more of your space. Then they become bold, right? They've flooded into your space, they've dumped their dirt onto you, and they treat you as a sort of reflection of themselves. So if you have no specific, very particular flavor, as in being opinionated, having strong, you know, identity, and showing strong identity that you're this imperfect human being, that you would say things out loud, whatever you think, what you want, what you don't want, speaking up about your preferences, right? So people treat you like you're just them, because you absorb and reflect by encouraging, enabling, and all these things. You become a reflection of who they are. And this is the key why people project their crap onto you. You literally become an extension of them. So all their crap from their house is flooding into your building, your space, right? And it becomes what they are. It becomes who they are in their view. They don't think, because you haven't given them a real clear reason to think that way, they don't treat you as a separate individual with your own preferences, with your own needs, with your own desires, because they've never seen that in you. So they're just like spill and spill and spill, right? Okay, so what now? What do you do with that information? Well, the first and foremost thing that is the most dreaded thing for all empaths, yes, I'm going to be boring. You have to think about being more strict with people, having more boundaries. And based on what I just explained to you, you can see how not doing certain things I've just explained through my analogy, you might be wanting to do more of those. Especially with any new relationship, is so great that you can become who you want to be. And of course, I don't want you to be someone fake, but become more aware of who you really are in your own time. What are your values? What do you stand for? What are your preferences? What will you never allow? What are your views on some things? And when you go home, when you're just like have watched this video, you can take notes and you can literally journal about these things. What is important for you? What will you never agree with? Okay, I'm not saying you will go around on the street now shout these things out loud. It's just for you to become stronger with those ideas in the back of your mind, so that you come to these new conversations with more awareness of who you are and equipped with, like, you will become prepared for what people will want from you, and you can give them a sort of stronger sense of who you are by specifically sharing some views. In the beginning, it might not be natural because you've not been doing that yet, but anything that is being practiced frequently, it becomes our nature. That's why I say you need to be expressive about who you are. You're not supposed to make up things that are fake for you. That's why it will still be within your integrity to share who you are. And especially sharing the sort of imperfect aspects of yourself that you consider imperfect, but they actually make the perfect you, because they actually draw a sort of shape of you that people can fathom when they look at you, that you have a shape, you have a flavor, you have preferences, you say no to some things. Even if it's uncomfortable to say immediately no to that person you're speaking to, but you can say, I never agree with that sort of view. And by giving them an idea about who you are, by voicing these things, they will see some of the boundaries from sides, not even from the front, maybe just yet, but they will see that you are somewhat protected, that you have some bounds, that you have a frame, that you have a shape of an individual person that you are. But if you don't do that, if you don't picture yourself in different ways through your behaviors, how you respond to things, how you speak about yourself and your views, they will not make out this shape in their mind. They will see you as transparent, as someone that they can dump things onto you, because that's how we were brought up. It's really deep conditioning. Maybe you had to serve to people in your life through becoming available, through listening to your parents' problems, like absorbing their pain so that they would accept you, right? You have become a role that you had to play. And as much as there is a pain attached to it, because I'm sure you have experienced a fair share of pain related to this. Maybe you had some experiences with narcissists, and these relationships are extremely painful and draining, right? So as much as this upbringing, this conditioning made you feel and have these experiences that were so painful, they also made you someone who is seeing so much things outside in people in the world that no one else can see. So now, with drawing more of the shape of you-ness, let's call it this way, you are becoming more powerful. You will grow. You will be able to embrace what you have and not become hopeless with what the gift that you have developed by, a sort of painful conditioning. But this is something you can cherish. And in many of my videos, even if they're not titled for empaths, healers, and creatives, or feel like highly sensitive, I speak from my empath perspective. So this problem explained through the practical use of that energy, that empathic energy that is so focused externally, like your own, that you absorb so much things from the outside. But I just wanted to throw it out there that you are a powerful person that hasn't yet embraced the gifts that you possess. And by just adding small things to your life, you can really get in touch with your power. So drawing those boundaries, whether that's by sharing more of your values, taking more of a stance in conversations, expressing more of your opinions and things that you don't disagree with very specifically. This is even more stronger than saying what you stand for. By saying what you don't agree with, that really gives people a cue. They don't even register it. That's what it happens, People don't register energy consciously. That's why I talk all about using energy in practice, so you become so powerful by knowing even more what goes on unconsciously in your own mind, in people's minds, that you become so empowered in using your gifts. So you draw more of a shape of yourself and you become more empowered by doing this. Then you can start saying no to things. And there is a really cool thing I've developed. I figured it out, and then I introduced in using this in my life. And whenever I have some new relationships, I would test waters. Well, not so much testing. I would just do things that make people, I would act as normal. But then I would withdraw my energy at some point by maybe, after I have accepted an invitation, I would say, sorry, I'm not coming. Or I would not even say sorry. I would say, yeah, it doesn't work, I'm not gonna come. And I would not offer explanation. I would just, say what I want. It has to come out natural, and it will happen naturally in different situations for you. It's just an example. It's not something I fake in doing, in testing people, but it tests people. I will very early on in interactions introduce some sort of boundary or saying no to some things, even if it's neutral, not in a conflict situation, but in saying no in a very safe way, when we have not become intimate in any ways, but so that people start learning that I have bounds, that I say no when I feel like saying no. I don't have to exploit my energy in offering numerous explanations into why I would not want to attend something, or why I would not want to come or do something, even if I accept it. Okay, this is really important because it teaches people about me, and it's a learning process. If you want to become an empowered empath, which I believe you are, it's a learning process of growing awareness, using your gifts, using this unconscious energy, understanding how people interpret energy, how you interpret your and other people's energy, so that you can read more cues and know what they mean. So if you want to more of that, just keep watching my channel, watch other videos. I explain some of these things, but I'm planning on recording more videos for empaths. Just share if you have any sort of other pains that relate to being an empath, a feeler, or a healer who is absorbing so much pain of other people, because it's something that's been on my mind for so long to introduce more of that here. This is so important that you keep working on your inner state, because as an empath, you're so focused on the external by the way you were conditioned, and your energy, your space has become so open for everyone else because you're so focused and obsessed on others, on people's feelings, on how they treat you, on how you need to help someone, tend to some situation. This is how you were conditioned. It's not your fault, but now it's time to focus inward and source that energy and pull it out. Okay, so I encourage you to be doing more of that. Like I say, I'm going to post a couple of recommendations here and more in the description below. It's all about your choices. What do you do with your gift? Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.